Hey y'all. Well, um, just a quick update before I get back into this homework. So I went and met with my homegirl Christy. Christy. So it was nice to see her. Me, Mark, and her. We had brunch, so that was nice. Of course, we were talking about work and little stuff here and there, and pretty much like how do I do it. So I know I've, talked about books here and there, but one book that really stands out is The Secret. That book has plenty of series, actually. Excuse me. And so back in 2020 when I had my surgery, I had actually did a video, but I took the video down. Well, I didn't really take it down. I think I put it set it as private. But basically the video was expressing like how I was going through all of these, changes and stuff with medicine, and the doctor was like being weird. And anyways, I ended up meeting one of the guys through our facilities team at work, and so he fixed my electricity because half my house was not working. Like the electricity went out. I don't know what happened. It just like stopped working. So he came by, he fixed it, and he asked me about this book, and I'm like, no, I've never heard of it. So he was like, well, I'm gonna give you my copy so you can read it. I was off, so okay, sure. So I get to reading it, and it it asks you like some goals, and at the end of each chapter, you have things that you pretty much have to do for these 30 days or better. And no, it doesn't just happen like right away. So I've always talked about a business that I want and how I see it, what the building looks like, all of that. Now, mind you, I saw this building when I was a kid, so I had been like 9 or 10 when I had this dream about this building. Now, originally, I wanted to be a veterinarian and a doctor, and so like the building was showing like if I was a veterinarian, this is all the space I would have, and the many dogs that I would end up saving that are normally put to sleep until they get a home. And I would have, staff working this, that, and the other. Like, let's fast forward. I ended up reading this book in 2020, and I started to instantly write down things that I wanted to be intentional about, and that I wanted things to just happen. How it happened, I didn't have like an order. I just wanted it to happen. Like I wanted to get back in school, so I was able to do that. I wanted to pay off my debts. I was able to do, most of it. I still have debt, but that's because of school and some other things that I've had to take on as far as that responsibility. But needless to say, I, wrote these things down, and there was a fake check that I made a copy of, and I took and wrote down the amount, and I was like, okay, I think that's a reasonable amount for my business to have enough to at least get it started, and things of that nature. And so I folded it up, put it in a book, and I continue to read this book. um I kid you not, I kid you not. Like, I literally kid you not. I started school in 2020. I started taking a class here and there. And then I went back full blown in 22. Graduated in 24 with my master's. This master's should have been completed back in probably 15, 16 ish, somewhere around that era. But I owed tuition. I was able to pay my tuition off before I started that master's program. So in 2020, I was able to pay in full U of M. paying in full Kaiser University. OCC was already paid off. I didn't have any, balances with them. I didn't have any balances with any of the other schools, just those two. Moving forward, I went back to school, got the master's, went to a whole different school. Originally, I was supposed to go to Northwestern. I think my degree would have been in medical health informatics, if I'm not mistaken. So it would have still been like on the technology side of health informatics, because I didn't have a nursing degree, of course. I had a medical assistant, degree, and of course, I ended up eventually getting my certification in 2020. But all of these things came to play because of me changing my mindset and me, starting to reduce the negativity around me, and the people that were thinking negative about how they can't do stuff. I just kind of removed myself out of the factor, or the group. Not to say that I was better than anybody, but just because what I was trying to do, I needed, more positive people around me. I then went on, excuse me, to finish that degree. And then shortly after finishing that degree, I got accepted into a doctorate program after being denied a few times for PA school. And so I decided, yeah, let me go ahead and try to knock out these things. Because I have to get to PA school some kind of way. So I went on and started doing my doctor's program. I would have been done in December of last year. However, I had some stumbling with a class, and so I'm retaking it this semester coming up. So April 27th will be my redo of this class. And then I never finished the last class because of this one. So it'll be my very first time tackling the last class. And of course, I have to pay out of pocket. So you can imagine the stress and trying to find solutions behind how I can make this happen. And so, yeah, I've gotten in debt for it, trying to, pay things off, get out of debt, trying to, do traveling, trying to do, things while I am able to do them before my schedule really gets hectic and busy. So I did all of that to say that you definitely have to change your mindset. You definitely have to believe in what it is you want to do. Whether it's your career, your job, relationships, friendships, family, like you really have to be intentional about the things that you are asking for. At first, I used to ask for things, but then I don't think that I was specific on what I was asking for. I just was asking. And I had a friend of mine say, you have to, be intentional, but you also have to be specific on what it is and what you want to have. So, for instance, like a relationship. Yeah, I wanted a guy that was nice and respectful and that I felt would be a good father figure. But I wasn't specific as into, okay, the behaviors and the drive for this man. So sometimes you can ask for things, but then because you're not specific when you get sent these things that you ask for, sometimes it's not what you thought you wanted. Instead, it's what you need. And I have to say that in the beginning, yes, I used to ask, so much about like, God, send me a husband, send me this, that, and the other. Send me someone that will work with me, this and that. So I got that. And then after being with the person for some years, the end result was is that they were definitely not ready to get married. Um, I don't even know if they wanted kids or not. I think, we talked about kids, but I don't know if that was what they really wanted for real. Um, or if that was something that they were willing to wait on. Um, Also, you have to be mindful that you can't fix everybody up. Everybody has their own thing going on in life. So you definitely have to give grace where it's needed. And it may be challenging at times because you can come out of a situation and then you're like at all by another person that is treating you, you know, nicer and better, and so you don't really know how to act because a majority of the time you've been pretty much pushing through and trying to, be feminine, but because the situation that you end up in, it turns out that you are in the masculine and feminine moment at that particular phase or in that stage or season. And so you end up saying, well, what can I do to better myself? Because I'm not here to help you. I'm not here to be your mother. I'm not here to, be the yes, ma'am type. I'm here to help. So I need to find and attract, you know, something that's going to work with me, understand, yes, I have a busy schedule. Yes, I'm in school. Yes, I work multiple jobs. Yes, this is only a season for right now, but eventually the season will end, and then I'll be in a season where everything will flow perfectly well according to God's plan. Um, but needless to say on that, it definitely, was a disappointment. I felt like I failed because I'd spent years, in relationships for a long period of time waiting for them to figure out what they wanted to do. I didn't, question. I didn't put a time limit on it. I just was hoping for the best, I guess. Um, as years went on and after that breakup, and mind you, I had been in that relationship for 6 years. Prior to that, I had been in another relationship for 4 going on 5 years. So that was my very first official one, and I was very young. So I was like 16, 15. No, I was 16 when I got into that one. And I think we were around 20 and 21 when we broke up. So I had just turned 21 and he was still 21 going on 22, but we had broken up like shortly after, I think, my birthday or after his. um and so it was difficult because this is the only person I had been around, and the negative things that he would say was bad. So to read this book and to see like some of the different situations that played out in the book, it was like, wow, like that sounds like my life for real. Like really sounds like my life. And what can I do to change out of this? And so I decided to be intentional about what I asked for. And so the things started to come to me, like attraction of law or whatnot, the law of attraction rather. And I'm like, okay, let me try this. And then some more stuff started to, happen. Though it took me, 10 years to say go back to school and get my degree, I think I needed that time to grow and to figure out, was this what I wanted to do? Um, I then, was in a relationship that again was healthy, but after, spending that time and seeing that there was still things that was like not being intentional, I was like, yeah, I have to find something that I am better equipped to handle and to tolerate a little bit more because I've been tolerating unnecessary behaviors for a long time, even if the other person felt like it wasn't a behavior and felt like it was my fault or felt like I was the one. I also looked at the things that was doing, the reason I couldn't do things. Like I wanted to travel, but every time I would look at the budget, it looked it real crazy. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even travel. This is wild here. Like this people that are in high school that were traveling and doing things, they had started traveling before I even got to college. Before I even graduated high school, they were traveling and doing, fun stuff as teenagers. Like I was not really a fun teenager because I really was limited on what I could do and what I couldn't do, who I could be around, who I couldn't be around. And, listening to one of my cousin's friends talk about, her mom. I just attended her funeral, my first cousin on my dad's side, but listening to her one of her best friends talk about how her mother, my cousin, was very intentional on who she wanted her daughter to hang with. Like that was very important. And I think I didn't see that at first. I saw a lot of restriction. So I didn't see the understanding behind what my mom or my aunt was trying to do as far as in protection. Now, I wasn't a wild kid once I got to college. Like I didn't go to parties. I really didn't I really didn't do much of anything. I literally do what I do now, go to school and work. And yeah, traveling and going to concerts were something that I wanted to do when I was a teenager kid type deal. And I was never able to do it. So when I was able to do my first concert at the age of 30, I intentionally wanted to, put myself in that atmosphere, that space. Um and I literally was like, okay, I think I can handle this. And, I started off, slowly. I planned my birthday. I ended up getting like a massage and a facial. I got my nails done. I got me a nice little outfit. My hair was done. I was really cute. And I was 30 and I was like, you know what? I gotta love life for what it is. And I like my life. I say I like it because I feel that when I start to love my life is when I have completed these last few things that need to be completed. I have been literally busting my butt for these classes and trying to, um, balance a relationship and parents and work and in between work and and essays and paperwork and this and that, taxes or income taxes. So I'm really, just like, wow, okay, I'm doing something finally. Originally when I was planning to do the Vegas trip, it was 6 years earlier where I was gonna be like, I think turning 30, and I wanted to do like, go out of town, go to Vegas, have a couple girls. And then everybody kind of backed out. They kind of was like, yeah, it's too expensive, this, that, and the other. We were gonna do like uh a Airbnb, go hang out, just have fun, girl talk type deal, spend time with your girls and the accomplishments that they've made. And that was a flop. I planned it 6 years later, and I was able to pull out, some folks, from work to come. I was able to get, 4 people additional to come fly out to celebrate my 36th birthday. And we had a blast. We had a nice dinner. We got to go hang out at the Michael Jackson show. The other young ladies, they, walked and did their thing, and but it was nice to like get everybody together and have a nice dinner, even though I walked back to the room to get my shoes, and that was a pain in the neck because everybody ate their food and they were all like ready to go type deal. So I had to box my food up, and I think they brought me like a piece of chicken, like a big chicken leg. It was, yeah. So that didn't go too well, but like everything else was nice, like picture wise, and the setting, the mood, the atmosphere was nice. But yeah, it was. And I knew better. I should have, brought my regular tennis shoes with me along with us to dinner, but I somehow walked out and forgot them. The walk was so long, and I had on these heels, and then I had to like walk all the way to the show, so my feet was on fire. But I, had a nice time, turn around, won some money while I was out there. Went to like the museum. That was nice, the wax museum. Took some pictures, had a, great time in that sense. Got to, travel and look around the area. We had a rental car, so we did that, and that was nice. I thought it was a really nice turnout. And I know I have my moments where I can be really bitchy and all of that, but it's not because I'm trying to be a bossy person or any of that. I just want to, make sure I'm a make sure type of person. Make sure that it's right. Make sure everybody's good. Um, and so then that started being the trend of, okay, we're gonna start planning and we're gonna just go and just do it. And I want to say Affirm was one of the things that was helpful for me to be able to start traveling and paying for tickets and this and that. It paid for me to go to a lot of trips, from Jamaica to I don't even want to say Greece, because Greece, I yeah, it pays some for Greece, but then no, some money was from my income taxes and school refunds and stuff like that. Because it also paid for like my bills for school, books, my other classes. So and then I had gotten a refund for something else. But all of these things were just like not even expected for real. But Affirm was definitely one of those pay or virtual cards that helped me pay as I went. I was, sometimes I would have it paid off within, before traveling. So that was nice to be able to be like, all right, I got some money that will pay my cost, pay for me to go here, pay for me to be able to like, just to go and not be like, oh, I can't go because I don't have it in the budget. Oh, I can't do this because I don't have money for that. Um, this extra things that you want to do. No, like it literally paid for the things that I was able to do. and I'm thankful for it, because I don't know how I would have been able to manage to do the things that I was able to do. Like I was able to go to the Kentucky Derby. You know how many years of wanting to go to the horse race that I finally was able to do that after I graduated from my master's program? Do you know, like, Hawaii, like I heard of stories from my cousin because he stayed there for years, but to be able to go there and experience it was really nice, especially in Waikiki because that's where he stayed at the time. And he went to school out there and everything. Like I got to see the school that I possibly could have, got accepted into, but I didn't have a lab. And so then I went and, did this lab, thinking like all the schools would, take this course, and then I found out like not every school takes these courses, so that was just like another, slap in the face type deal. So what I did was I started to transfer my credits over to Grand Canyon, and go from there type deal. After which, I started focusing on debt, and I started going on YouTube, and I started looking at like different ways that people were able to pay off their debts. These people literally had calendars, they had schedules. Some people had their own businesses, and they literally stuck to it. They, some of them did the snowball effect where they might, pay off the higher interest ones and then tackle the lower ones. Some people like to tackle the smaller ones and then work their way up. Whatever works your budget, let it work for you. For me, I was kind of even around the board. I did a lot of the approaches, but at the same time, like I kind of know like I can pay off certain things at a certain time frame. However, like if it's like kind of expensive or it's gonna be a bigger purchase, then I know it's gonna take me a little bit longer. But I just know that I tackled and did a lot of tackling. I even back then I had registered to do the debt solution. So I went through, at that time it was called Global Solution, I believe it was. And then it like transferred over to like Century or something like that. Either way it goes, like, and then that transferred over to like another company which consolidated the loan and paid off the rest of the debt, and then I just paid them off, which I want to say I finished paying them like around the 24 year, I believe is when I paid them. 23, 24 is when I paid them off. And like my debts had started to like really come down. So like credit card wise, I'm not that expensive. I'm like 13, 14,000. My biggest debts are really like my school debt and me taking on a car note. Though it's through my credit union, I still have a note that I pay the credit union. And even with that being said, like I had to pray on it. It took 10 years to get a car. And then it was a car that a decent car. It wasn't like the car I wanted, but it was a car that I'm like, okay, it got everything that I need. And, I trust what my boyfriend is saying to like, this is a good car. You don't really have a whole lot of things that you have to do on it right now. So, that's a plus, right? And however, like gas is expensive because it's a more um expensive car. Um and so the gas is more expensive. So I have to do premium or a plus for my car. Um so it's luxury, I guess. But I'm not into cars. I just need my car to get me from A to B and till, the dream car that I decide to get is that car, and and that's the car I want, and I'm gonna like, pay cash for it or something like that one day. But I, literally worked to get all of these things in place. Like I worked to get my credit back in order. I worked to be able to put a roof and windows, on my home that I ended up getting from my aunt a little bit before she passed. So I had stayed here in 2016, and I began to start working on, clearing out the house, cleaning it out, trying to remodel, get things in order. Well, when I came here, I had boxes. Of course, we've gotten rid of a lot of my things that I had when I was growing up, like the bookshelves left, my books left. I ended up giving them to the library. I had things that clothes and things that I had gave away to the Salvation Army. I had so much stuff going on. And I was like, yeah, like I'm, being intentional with clearing out old stuff and, trying to like not have stuff cluttered and not have stuff just sitting here and just waiting for me to do something with it. And yes, I do hold on to things, but I do know when the time is up to let it go or to give it away to somebody else to be able to, learn and study from the material notes and things like that that I've, had over the years. Of course, I've lost my things. I've, had stuff that sat in one of my friend's mom's basements for a while before I was able to like transfer the rest of the stuff up here. And I had lost like half of my stuff, because they had a flood, and so like half my stuff got destroyed. Um, and I was like, okay, I ended up having to throw out a couple of totes that I had because they broke, and it was just like really, crazy. I was like, okay, well, what can we do now? Um, and I just started to tackle one thing at a time, and it was the bills I tackled. Then I started doing the traveling, tackled that. I started to, go back to school, tackling that. I started to, still work the multiple jobs. But I can say, prior to starting my master's program, I had 4 jobs, two of which were, part time or contingent, one full time job, and I had one that was a side job that I could, pick up here and there, doing grocery shopping, or if I didn't want to do that, I could, sell my gift baskets, because I'm also a gift consultant, and then shortly after that, I started being a travel agent. And I have people who inquire about it, but they haven't really picked up or are really serious as of yet to really do the trips. But then on top of that, like there's so much other trainings that I have to do to like get to where I need to be a better travel agent. Like I know how to, travel and kind of put stuff together. Um, I just have difficulty with some of the basic things that is needed to get the process going. So I do have a partner that I can work with, and she can kind of guide me. But I'm a very modern person. I'm not really flashy. I'm a ordinary, as you can see. I don't even wear jewelry that much. I barely can keep earrings in, okay? So I'm very basic. I like stuff, but I don't really wear the things until I need it for something. I need it for an event, and I'm like, oh, I got this, and I can put this together and look real jazzy. But for the most part, I'm a ordinary girl. woman, young lady, whatever you would like. But I'm really, really simple. I don't need a whole lot. I don't really wear a lot of makeup. But I like getting my hair done when I can get it done. I like, being girly and getting my nails and stuff painted. As you can see right now, they're not painted, but they're a lot healthier since I've relaxed on the nail polish at the place. And I'm pretty sure I'll get back into like painting them. Just right now with me doing transport, they really don't want you to wear nails, but I've seen a lot of other people wearing nails. And so yeah, more than likely I'll probably get back into wearing my nails and stuff like that. And just being, more girly, I suppose. Because I don't think I'm always girly enough. And I can dress pretty decently, but I'm not like, oh, let me put this nice little, you know, outfit on and put some heels on. Like I'm not. I'm like a tennis shoe sporty type girl. What heels? What we doing? Look, my cousin. It's so funny. My cousin, she got married and had on her Air Force Ones or whatever. She had on some Nike shoot. Girl was not playing about no heels. She like, I'm about to be comfortable, okay? I already got this dress on. I'm not trying to be doing all of that. And I get it. That's one of those things that you have to literally do that on a daily basis, like get used to just walking in heels. But my feet are just like so bad at walking in heels, so I'm just like, yeah, not doing that. But on top of all of the things that has happened, I have to say that being around positive energy and people that are doing things has helped tremendously. Because when you're around negative attitudes, people, a lot of stuff kind of stall for a while. A lot of things are not moving as fast. You're, feeling more depressed and anxious about stuff. Anxiety is through the roof. You're worried about this and that, bills, out of control. The money is not looking right. The jobs are looking crazy. And so it takes time to really like get in a place where you're like, you know what, I'm okay. And God's gonna, figure it out and we're gonna work through what we have to work through to get where we need to be at. Of course, like God only does so much, like you have to still put in the work. You still have to, whatever you're asking for, you still have to put the work in, because if you don't put the work in, you're not gonna, get anywhere. It's gonna still look the same. Nothing's gonna be changed, and I don't even understand like how people can literally stay with other people and not do anything, not contribute, not try to clean up. Okay, if you don't have a job, why you can't clean the house? Why you can't take the trash out? Why you can't, cook a meal? Like those are basic things that you should do since you're not doing anything in society. But no, instead we got people standing in people's basements, people dropping their stuff off, people, staying extended times and not even, contributing, don't want to wash no dishes, don't want to do anything, just want to sleep all day. If they not sleeping all day, they drinking all day. If they not drinking all day, they smoking weed all day and not doing nothing with their life, not even trying to put an application in, not even trying to do anything positive to get themselves out of the situation that they're in, and then want to lay up on somebody else that's working hard and doing all of the things, and then they look at you like something wrong with you. No, something is wrong with you, because what do you mean you can't do something? I'm not asking, I'm telling you to do it, because you're sitting here not doing nothing and you're in my house. Or it's I quit, and what, how are you quitting? I don't feel good, so I'm quitting. Or it's They talk to me crazy, so I'm gonna do a couple of hours and I'm coming home. Okay, like sometimes you have to hold your tongue on some things, at work. Yeah, I get it. I have to a lot of times hold my tongue because I know if I start snapping and going off, them people gonna be looking at me like, oh wow, wait, what happened here? What just happened? Like she snapped for real, for real. And so I have to be the person that say, you know what, I'm not going to put my energy in this today. So you can say what you gotta say, no problem. But then there's them times that, because you have used and have been used up so much that sometimes you snap on the wrong person or people. And so then you have to, kind of rail yourself back and get yourself in order and together. You really do have to be intentional about what you want to do in life. As you get older, you shouldn't be just laying around waiting on Social Security to come and and that's it. Like you should really try to hustle in, whether it's delivering groceries, bagging up some groceries, greeting somebody at the door at a store. Like there is so many opportunities that I don't even remembering this growing up as a young person. I wish that they would have had, Uber back then, because baby, I would have been cleaning up. Okay. The bag would have been looking so nice. College would have been a little easier when it came to financing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my gosh, delivering groceries to people and getting tips and being able to be like, okay, oh, I can pay this bill. I still got some gas. I can still, hustle a couple more dollars tomorrow, delivering some more groceries. Like, I would have been said, okay, like, the people, listen, like, one of my friends, she did Uber during the pandemic, and baby, ran the bag up to like 100K, making 100K for the year. Like, what? Who does that? Now, you in a whole nother bracket, but baby, listen, them bills got paid and you still had some extra money to do what you had to do. But again, we choose to do only the bare minimum, and that's not gonna get you nowhere when sometimes you have to sacrifice, saying like, yeah, I might have to sacrifice on this bill. I don't sacrifice so many times on having to put a pause on a bill because my car was messed up. I was supposed to be paying the school, but guess what, I couldn't pay the school because if I don't have a car I can't make no money. So now I'm literally out here every check. I'm saving the checks up so I can, get this car fixed. I didn't have like mechanics around that I could be like, oh, can you fix my car? Hey, do you know what's wrong with it? Do I need to do this and that? Like what do I need to do? I didn't have that around me. So I was literally like, all right, I gotta do something to get this car fixed. I'm not getting, no bills paid. I be looking at, some of these things that, people be doing on the social medias, and I be like, man, all these people coming out talking all kind of stuff. Like that, it's really hilarious to me to, that you have people just like, yeah, I'll pay your bills, I'll do this and that, and you messing with these broke people, and I'm like, yeah, y'all talk that for X amount of time and then you stop doing all the I'ma pay your bills. Cause when you get the bill for real, you be like, oh damn, that's a lot. Like how much what you paying and why you got so much this and that? Like you really would be stunned at if them bills was costing what you paying already on top of you trying to pay my stuff. Like, yeah, let's kind of back that up, cuz the bills that you probably gonna try to pay for is like, little simple basic stuff that I'm already covering that's not a bill. It's that I don't have to have it type deal. Like getting nails done, hair done, Like, you can figure out how to do your hair eventually, your own. You can figure out how to do your own nails at home. Like, it's so many different things that you end up learning how to do on your own after you be looking like, dang, I'm spending X amount of dollars a month on this, and this, and I could literally save money on X, Y, and Z. So it is really, when I say really unfortunate that, you have these people that, want to be like talking all this stuff, but no, you ain't got to even talk about it. You off rip, if you know that's what you're gonna do, you're gonna just do it. You're not gonna talk about it. You're not gonna be like, yeah, you should come over here to me because I'll take care of your bills. I don't know why you talking to these broke people. But why do you have to advertise that you can do this? If you meet somebody, you off rip know that you gonna pay their bills, or that you can do what you need to do as a man or as a woman to provide for that person. I don't like talking about stuff that I'm going to do. I just let it happen. Then, it stuns people when it happens because they're like, dang, like, how did she do this, this, and this? One, I don't talk about stuff that I do. Two, I literally make my moves in silence. Whatever I'm doing it. I might not be able to be available. I may not be able to hang out. I may not be able to, adjust my time because of other obligations, but I'm doing it, and I'm doing it alone. I'm doing it, you know, with someone maybe, or I'm doing it with my parents, or my mom for sure. Is definitely a blessing and a hope, to say the least. My dad, he helps whenever, but my mom, I have to say, like, she's an angel when it comes to, like, literally helping people. Like, the drive and the motivation that she has is way different, because there's things that I probably wouldn't do because my patience is just, it won't allow me to. And I would just be like, man, my mama still be like coming through, still be like, yeah, I'm still, gonna be the nice person and still do this, even though I know you treat me like shit. But I'm gonna still do it anyway. I'm gonna still have a smile about doing it. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, shit, I'm not doing none of that extra shit. I'm gonna tell you that now. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not about to, kiss your ass. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. If you treat me a certain way and that's the attitude and that's the behavior, guess what, sir, ma'am, I'm not dealing with it. I ain't got to. I'm gonna walk away and just, God bless you, and keep it moving. If that's the energy that you got, I don't want your energy. I don't want that. I want to be able to, enjoy what I do with someone, with friends, family. Like, I don't want to just be like, oh, yeah, I gotta deal with you. No, you don't have to deal with me at all. I don't know why people think they have to deal with me or my mama or anybody. You don't have to deal with anybody that you don't want to deal with. If you feel like I'm too much, hey, you have the option to leave while you can. If you choose to keep sticking around and stand in, either you like it or something is holding you there. Something a person doing, something. Because if you feel like your peace is gone, don't stay because you think that, you gonna hurt somebody's feelings. Just, hey, it's not working for you. If you think you can do better, go do better. Go find somebody that want to sit up there and do all this, the lame stuff that you do. Because I guarantee you, majority of the stuff that you doing is probably lame and probably old school and probably old. Done it, done, like, it's old. It's not like people on to the bag. They trying to do this. They trying to travel. They not on some of the stuff that these folks just now discovering, just now deciding to try out, just now, getting out there to see what's out here for them. Like, it's been there. You just chose not to to do anything, to let it come to you, or to say like, look, I'm about to be intentional at everything that I want to do in life, whether it's getting a CDL, whether it's going back to school to get a better education or a better job, whether it is, getting your own business going, whatever it is, you have to put it into existence. You have to speak it into existence. Like, the universe is not just here to just give it to you. Like, you have to ask, you have to work hard at it, you have to make it come to you. You have to write it down, and you have to have a vision board if you need to. You have to do something that is going to make the things that you are asking for come to you into your reality. I even had, it wasn't a vision board, but it was like a brainstorm of different things that I wanted to happen in the year 2018. Majority of those things have happened in 26. The things that I wrote down, like, those things really did come to tuition. They really came to me. They really were like, boom, boom. Like, it just started, and then it started flowing. And the more that it keeps flowing to you, the more that you will be like, oh, this ain't that bad. But yeah, you're going to have to go through some storms. You're going to have to, sit down a couple of times, and you're going to have to, like, really brainstorm and talk to God, and really get close to that higher being. If you don't believe in God, whatever it is that you believe in, at least believe in yourself to do better and to create, positive things to come to you. But other than that, I mean, literally, that's pretty much all that I have been really doing as far as in life, is that I'm like, okay, what can I do to get this? How can I get it? How can I finish these classes? How can I get these grades? How can I get the help? What do I need to do to, like, make things really come to me the way they supposed to come to me and flow as like it's water. Like, it just flows so smooth and so quietly. And yes, stop being so, you know, flashy about different things and every move that you make. Sometimes you don't need to explain why you're doing something. Sometimes your moves explain it for itself. Sometimes moving in silence is better than speaking it, to other people, because sometimes people will become jealous of your thinking and of how you're doing things. So I would say definitely write it down. Definitely believe in yourself. Like I said, I believe in God, so that's just something that I talk to him about. Um and it's on a different level for me to like see the things that has been happening happen. See how I'm moving way different than I did 10, 20 years ago. See how I am able to be resourceful versus 10, 20 years ago, and then help somebody else make it easier for them. Like, I've talked about, jobs and how that sucks, especially with interviews. I've talked about how the pay suck. I talked about how sometimes uh the things that you think you should have and you don't have it right then and there, and learning how to be patient with its time, and when God wanted to happen, he's gonna let it happen. That car that I have in my driveway didn't happen because of me. It happened because I was patient enough to say, okay, God, when you're ready for me to be able to afford this car note and the car insurance and whatever else I got going on, you will let it be. Once he let me start being able to afford my car insurance, I'm like, okay, I can handle the car insurance. Then it was like, all right, can we handle getting a car note? And literally last May, which was around Mother's Day, I signed papers to get my car. It will be a year this this May. Because it was actually the day after Mother's Day that I picked it up. But needless to say, I pretty much had gotten the car at this point. I just didn't take it home on Mother's Day. I took it home the day after. And I was ecstatic about this. Like, my first car, like, what? Like, come on. And it's nothing but God that blessed me with that car to be able to afford the car notes, to be able to afford the car insurance, to then be able to handle a whole house, to then be able to like start, getting projects going and completing them and this and that, being able to get windows to put a steel roof on my house, to now build a whole porch, enclosed porch at that, that's going to be way nicer than the first one, and more stable and better. um to one day to rebuild my garage and what my garage is going to be for, as far as in storage and being able to park a car in there. One day to be able to add a additional side driveway on the side, so then, guests can park on the side driveway versus, blocking somebody, or they can pull in front of the other car if they need to. Just being able to have these things lined up and then still be able to apply to PA school and still have some money to be able to afford these applications that come and go, and tests that I have to take and do over here, and like so many things that I have to say I am very thankful, because if it wasn't for God, I would not be able to share with y'all all of the things that came from out of this book. That book was like the answer beyond what the Bible was telling me. Like, yes, God shows me visions and he gives me different pictures in my head, and thinking to think the way I think. Even with my cousin that I don't talk to on my mom's side. Like, when I say we're first cousins on my mom's side and we don't even talk, but then I think about it, me and my cousin on my dad's side, we only talk from time to time, but we didn't talk a lot either. And and so a lot of the things that happened and transpired with that relationship, I was like, you know what? I can't be mad or angry or hate him. Actually, I don't even have hate in my heart at all. Like, I don't, as a person, a being, like, I don't have a way of hating anybody. I can dislike you. I can, dislike behaviors that you do. I can, stuff that happen, I can dislike those things, especially if it hurt my feelings or it hurt me. Um, and yeah, it makes me sad sometimes to, see how people can literally like go from being so nice to just being pure evil, or just being mean for no reason. And I'm like, I'm the nicest person, but yeah, you can tick me to the point that I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is ridiculous to keep, having to go through and repeat and redo. And like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna keep doing that, because I don't have time to do the repeats and the redos. Um, and I literally would like to enjoy the life that I can live while I can live it, and enjoy what I can enjoy from the time that I have here left here on earth, for real. Like, I always tell my mom, like, if something happened to me, like, you would be set, because I have, a couple of little life insurances, that, hey, you good to go if something happened to me. Somebody, will be helpful to her and my dad, but I believe that God put me on this earth for a reason, and whether it was to talk to people, talk about what is really bothering me in my head, because I can talk. Look, I done did about 60 minutes already, but I can talk about so many things, and and give so many different perspectives. But a lot of times I just like, I just have stopped doing that. I've stopped sharing my opinions about what somebody else can do better and what somebody else should be doing. I'm like, let me just focus on me, because how am I going to tell somebody to do something and then they don't even want to do that? That's not even what they're passionate about. It's so crazy that people can share what they want to do, how they want to do it, and then they just don't never fall through on it. So the least I can do is I can try to be an example to my little cousins growing up, to friends and whatever other family that's out there that is willing to get to know me and actually be like, all right, she's a pretty cool person. She's really down to earth. And I really am. And it's sad that like I have a whole cousin in Hawaii that don't even communicate, don't because her pay is above mine's or someone else's. Or wait, I take that back. She's in a different pay grade. So because she's in a different pay grade, she feels like, in so many words, and my perspective of it is that the people who are not on the level of which she's on, she don't want to be bothered. But you realize you miss out on people who might can help you with other things and show you and give you different perspectives. You don't really have to be a rich person to get the same perspective that an ordinary person has. Like, you might not even have all the answers while you're rich and all up there, in spotlights. But I care less, because I feel like you're a regular person just like I am. You just got money and I don't. It's a lot of people that got money and they deal with who they gonna deal with. But then it's so funny is that, guess who be the same ones that you stuck your nose up to that still end up having to help you out. So don't get too big for your britches that you can't see at the bottom that, hey, just because they down there don't necessarily mean they gonna stay down there. And I care less of how much money you have, because at the end of the day, guess what? You can't take that with you. You just got a lot of money. It's going to go to either your kids, your husband, or it's going to go back to the state. So, be mindful, people. Be mindful of your state of mind with people. And yeah, I get it. Not everybody can be in your circle. Like, you can't take everybody. It's not going to happen. It's just not. Some people are not going to be in your circle. Some people are not going to be in your season. There's going to be some seasons where some people going to get let go. Some people just ain't going to follow you to the next chapter in your life. Some people are just literally going to be left behind because they're stuck in that mindset that they don't want to change. They're comfortable with what they have right now. They don't think about, okay, well, in the future, I could have so much more. I could do so much more. I can help the next person, get to this level. Why you think there's so many people that, are motivational speakers and people that just like go on platforms and just be talking about different things and trying to encourage people to, look at life differently, and you got people who are like figuring out how to pay debt off without getting into a jam, and people who are investing in money and making more money and doing other things. It start with somebody planted that seed in them to be able to share with somebody else, and then from there that person was like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's, look into finding out what we need to do to go to the next level. And then it just grew from there. And then bam, now you like super into a whole nother world. You meet and all kind of people. Ma'am, I've been in rooms with people who had billions of dollars. I just went to Kentucky Derby. That's all the billionaires probably was up in that piece. I think Simone Biles was out there. So it's not like you can't be in the same room with these people. You can be in the same room with them and still be an ordinary person and still fit in like you got money. You can still talk like them. It's one thing that I can say that Ephraim did teach me is that you can be in a room with anybody and still be who you are. But you just take it up a notch where you can say, I can fit in here too. I can be with these folks and still they wouldn't know I didn't have no money. They wouldn't know that I don't, have a good job. They wouldn't know nothing. They don't know what kind of car I drive for real. I'm out of town. I'm having fun. I'm in the room with billionaires and trillionaire people that make so much money. They don't miss it. They trying to give away money because they don't want to owe taxes. I done been in them rooms. Mind you, I was on the robotics team, so we always was around money. Always. Money was like, okay, we just trying to get this robot to work so we can win the championship and make some money and help our school out. Money has been around me so much that I'm like, okay, that's nice to know. I'm glad you got a $1 million house. Okay. You normal. It's normal for you to be normal like with that. It's normal for me to be where I'm at and what kind of house and what kind of money it is worth. I don't even know because this is my first time really owning a home, but I don't even really know how much my home is worth. But I know by the time I finish getting it fixed up and making it look nice, it's probably going to be up there with your house. But it'll be way nicer. And it's simple. And it's not flashy. It's not going to be like over the top. It's just going to be regular, functional type things that really just, hey, I see it and I want it done. I got the money, let's do it. So that's my spiel for why you have to be positive about things and be intentional about the things and the people that you're around. And you really do have to be selective of the folks that are entering your life, your chapter, because there is going to be some times that some of those folks, because they get jealous, they get to thinking negative, that you don't want to be around that. At the end of the day, when you get old, you want to be around people who like to laugh, who find stuff funny, who's like, hey, let's do this because I just want to do it. Like, yeah, like you want to be able to do those things. So until next time, I hope I didn't talk y'all heads off. Hopefully, I'll be able to one day go live for real. I don't know. I'm not really a TikTok person, so, but I don't know. Maybe I'll get some content once I go to PA school. I'll do a couple little things here and there, on, TikTok, kind of get it, going. But yeah, for right now, I kind of like this, intimate crew that, subscribe to my channel. And I really do appreciate y'all, the ones that do listen, the ones that do follow me, the ones that, be anticipating on a new video to come out. I definitely going to try to do my best to, kind of touch bases a little bit more. And just get more content out here on YouTube. I do miss my Periscope channel though, because that was where all of my followers really were. But now they've changed that and it's too complicated to try to figure out how to get it to work. I lost like half of my videos. And it was so funny because when I first started going live on there, I was scared. Like I was just like, to be honest, I was like, I didn't know what we gonna talk about, but we gonna talk about something and get it going. And then from there it just like shot off, and I started having people following me and checking out my lives and stuff like that. And then of course when I moved my platform over to YouTube, I didn't get as many viewers and not as many people who following me. So I just like, what, this is pretty cool. Like I do it because it is definitely healing for me to talk about these different things that have happened in my life and what I've experienced. So I share it just because I want somebody to not have to go through half of the stuff that I went through. And you get to see the good, the bad, and all of the accomplishments, all of the failures, if I pass the test or whatnot. So definitely, until next time, I hope y'all had a good Easter. And, we got a new upcoming holiday, Mother's Day. So kudos to the moms out there. Y'all have an awesome, time of your life. Go do something. Love on yourself. Um, and remember, tell yourself you love you. Make sure that you tell yourself you're beautiful and that you are loved. Um, and really just really pour into yourself. Stop trying to pour into everybody else and not pour into yourself. Make sure you pour into yourself. And like I said, until next time, be nice and kind to one another. Until we meet again. Ciao.